Hello, and welcome to the Lockdown Coder Part 7, a 10-minute series coming to you from Sydney through the lockdown in July 2021. Looks like case numbers are going up, infectious people in the community are going up, and vaccinations are plodding along, so this lockdown is looking like it's going to be increasing, but we'll hear tomorrow anyway. So today, I think because we've covered functions and we've also covered objects, I think we might do something with functions and objects. Why not, hey? I've got a vague idea of what we're going to do. Anyway, we've got 10 minutes to do it in. As you know, this is unscripted, unrehearsed, and I haven't a clue what I'm doing, other than we're doing some coding in JavaScript. This might help some beginners. Look, if it does help some beginners get up to speed and interested in JavaScript, then it has done its job. So let's get going. Now, let's create some animal objects and let's create some functions for them to do various things. Okay, so this was going to involve variables, it's going to involve objects, it's going to involve functions, maybe properties of objects too. So let's start by creating a cat. I have 2 cats and a dog. Hence my bias for cats and dogs. So let cat1, actually let's name them. So Springsteen, I've got 2 cats called Springsteen and Elvis. We didn't name them. So Springsteen equals, now I'm going to create the object like this. As I said, there are different ways of creating objects. Like you could use the new keyword, and if you had a cat function, you could create it like that. You could create it with a new object, but this is the easiest way, is just create an empty object like this. So we haven't got a lot of time really, so that's what we're doing. So Springsteen equals that. Let's give him some properties. So Springsteen dot, remember, if you've got an object, to set or get any property, you can use the dot operator. Generally that's the best one to use. You can also use square brackets, but we don't want to use that because that can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes you have to do that for reasons I'm not going into. But we're going to use dot, and we're going to say species equals cat. It's a string, remember? So now I've set that property so I can recall, I can find out what's in it. It's like having that container. So Springsteen is a variable, remember? And that variable called Springsteen holds a value, and that value inside it is an object. So if I reached into the container, I pull out an object, the object would be a cat, and that's what we've got so far. Well, actually it would be just a string with the word cat on it. It's not that exciting, but if you think about it, if we were doing this for a game, in the game it would actually appear as a full-on cat. So what else have we got? So Springsteen dot species, what else do we want to do? Springsteen dot name, which is actually to name the variable Springsteen, but I'm going to give it name anyway, equals Sprinky is what we call him, and Springsteen dot age, he's about 14, he's a bit of an old boy. And what else should we give him? We'll give characteristics. Let's make this an array just to make it a little bit interesting. Okay, so square brackets denote your array. This is going to be a list of stuff. An array is a list. It's just a list of stuff. Okay, give him some traits. We can say he's greedy. He's loud, and he's affectionate. Okay, he'll never stop eating. Like you could feed him 24/7. So that's him. So now we clear the screen. The object is in memory. The variable is in memory. So we could recall the whole object and see what JavaScript gives us. Let's do it. Enter. Okay, hit the arrow and you'll see Springsteen is an object. He's got an age, he's got characteristics, name and species. And look here, we've got another arrow here because what you've got is an array, a complex object within an object. So object within object. Do you remember when I talked about objects can be simple and complex? And I used the example of a space shuttle, which is like super complex. Well, a cat is a complex object. And so we've got an array inside an object. If you drop down the arrow, the nice thing about Chrome is it'll give you the breakdown of the object in great detail. So you can find out exactly what the object is made up of. So that's him. Now we're going to give him a method. So this is going to be slightly new. So we're going to say Springsteen.talk equals, and we're going to say function. This is going to be an anonymous function. Well, anonymous in the sense that it doesn't have a name here. So in most functions, if you're creating a function from scratch, you generally put the name here. So function talk brackets, and then you'd put the code in here, and then you end it. But we're not doing that today. See, we're actually giving the name here. Talk, that's actually the function name. It's actually looks like just a normal property, but it's attached to a function, you see. So, and in here we're just going to go console.log, and remember, you know what that does, just writes output to the screen. So this will just, when we run the talk function, it'll actually do something and it'll output to the screen so we can see what's going on. Later on down the road, this could be a lot more complicated, you know. You can actually I don't know, talk or something. Anyway, he would go meow. How do you spell meow? Like that. He's pretty loud, so I'll give him an exclamation mark. Then we finish the function, hit enter, done. So to call a function, a lot of people get confused between the function itself and calling a function. Now, a function is an action. Now, a thing like cat or robot or car or whatever doesn't just perform the action without getting some motivation to do it. So, you know, when you start the car, you'll turn a key and then the car will start. You know, the action will kick into life. Will happen. The cat will get some motivation to meow, then it will meow. So you've got to call the function, and then the function will run, and you'll get the output of the function. So to call it, we just use the name of the function talk. But as I think I said a few days ago, if you just use the name here and hit enter, all you're saying to Chrome here or to JavaScript is, do I have a function or a property or a something called talk, some member called talk on this object Springsteen? And it says yes you do, you've got a function. Wow, whoopie-doo. What we actually want to do is call it. To do that you have to put brackets on the end, and that invokes the function. So brackets on the end, hit enter, meow, done. So in doing this, we can build up a object being a cat with many properties that describe him and many actions. It could, it could be talk, walk, stalk, whatever, and lots of other things. And we can actually end up with a model, if you like, of a complex object that could then be graphically realized in a game or simulation or whatever. So there we have it. We will see you tomorrow for another episode, or whenever I upload it, hopefully tomorrow, for the Lockdown Coder episode 8. See you then.